This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and so Microsoft's press conference just ended. Just a shade under 2 hours, no less. But they had reason to go that long because they came out and they said they were going to show 50 games, 18 of them world premieres, 15 of them exclusives. And I didn't keep count because I wasn't trying to. To be honest, it was just like, okay, they said it. I'm just going to take their words, so to speak. I'm sure if I go back and look at a breakdown, which I'll do much later, I could count and see how accurate they were. But Microsoft's conference was dope, and I'm not being facetious when I say that. It was actually a really cool conference. There are things that I'm going to have that are going to be negative, so I'm pre-warning you guys now. So if you don't want to hear anything that's going to sound like I'm hating on Microsoft, which I'm not, I'm just being honest. But you know, you cannot have a opinion that's not 100% positive without being called a hater. You can't necessarily discern things logically and form your opinion regardless of what you like or what you prefer, blah blah, because people are gonna call you a hater. So I'm prefacing that now. So if you are a Microsoft fanatic, please leave, because I do not want to be bothered with the childish bullshit comments. Okay, so, and my neighbor's kids are being extra loud, but it's okay. Anyway, so Microsoft conference, they showed a lot like they promised. A lot of interesting, diverse games, which I was very glad to see. You know, over the years, my biggest point about Microsoft is that they don't show enough diversity in their exclusive content, and the main staple of their presentation tends to be about either third-party exclusives or just exclusive content that they get from other like third parties, or just a lot of third party stuff. And you can make the claim that that's what this Microsoft was, but I do feel like their exclusive stuff was diverse enough, even if you know, again, spoiler, I'm gonna have something that people aren't gonna like to hear, even though there's a caveat to that. So let's go through my Twitter rants, because I didn't take notes. I actually was trying to do homework while I was doing this, because I have a project due, and I was like, I'm just gonna ignore my project and just try to power blast through it later. But I was like, no, I have to do some of it. But I have tweeted extensively over the last 2 goddamn hours about this. Well, so I have notes, so to speak. So Microsoft started out with Halo Infinite. That is coming soon. So get ready for that. Everybody, that's a good way to start the show. Then they did the whole talk where they talked about the 18 exclusives, 15 world premieres, and 50 games being showed. Now, some of the highlights of this, there was an Activision game that I did not take the name down. Sorry, it is. I do know the name. The Activision game, which is Siku Shadows. Damn it! I should have wrote this down. This is why I should have wrote that down. Shadows Die Twice is the name of the game. Siku Shadows Die Twice, which was teased during the Gaming Awards. FromSoft showed that a lot of people figured it was going to be Bloodborne 2. Nope, not at all. It's actually a multi-platform game from FromSoft. So that's pretty cool. New title, new IP, but probably in the same vein as Dark Souls and Bloodborne. So cool. You had Ori 2, which looked good. They showed Fallout 76, which they brought out Howard, and he proclaimed that this is like 4 times bigger than Fallout 4. So does this mean we have an actual real new engine? And like powering this thing? I hope so. Hopefully we'll find out later on their show. There was a new game by the people who made Life is Strange. They showed Crackdown 3, which I thought was kind of funny, because it's like, okay, so they showed Crackdown 3, said it's coming in February, but it's like, y'all, you know, everybody was hoping that you would not delay it, and you delayed it before you showed it. So I feel like that was kind of like just a reminder to their fans, like, oh yeah, this game is supposed to be coming soon, but not soon enough, because there's been a lot of people anticipating that game. That game's been in developer hell. It's crazy. Nier Automata is coming to Xbox, so the timed exclusivity is over for PlayStation on that. They showed some Kingdom Hearts, which was pretty damn cool. Would have been cool if they would have said we're also bringing the older Kingdom Hearts onto the Xbox, but I guess no go. What else? Of course, they showed Forza 4. Yeah. we kind of knew that. Forza Horizon 4, I should say, sorry. But then they started talking about different studios that they acquired. They said they acquired 5 studios, including Ninja Theory, the makers of Hellblade, which I found very, very interesting. Now, the interesting thing about this is, what are they going to actually let them do, and how much are they actually going to support them? Because remember, I guess I'm getting into the bad part, so you guys probably want to cut off now, but this is what Microsoft promised when they brought the Xbox One out, that they were going to invest in all these studios and let these studios make all these great games. It was 15 back then, now it's 5 more. Okay, cool. Hopefully they will keep to this and let these studios work, especially a studio like Ninja Theory, who has good pedigree. So they can't just be making this announcement and not follow through on it, okay? They also showed the Division 2, which is in my area. I grew up in the DC area, partially in Washington DC, but mostly outside. But shit, I'm 5 minutes away from the capital. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays. It looked good. Them showing the National Zoo and all that was kind of cool. So I'm curious as to how big the world is and how truncated they are. Like, are they just going to go for the big sites, or are they going to try to show some of the neighborhoods and stuff like that? We'll see what the scope is. Ubisoft has their own conference, so we'll see. A bunch of people got trolled because they thought Skate 4 was being showed, but it was a game called Session, which is a skate game, which is fine. You know, at least you get your skate game somehow, even if it's not the skate that you want. Black Desert is coming to the Xbox. They showed Devil May Cry, which was cool. You're getting some more Cuphead content, which is cool. Also, you're already getting some more Sea of Thieves content. They showed that as well. Jump Force is coming out, which is a game by Namco Bandai, which is basically going to have every anime character that you could think of, probably. I don't know how many, to be honest. They showed a lot during the trailer. Keep in mind, I'm not an anime guy, so I couldn't tell you who. I just recognized a couple of names like Frieza and Naruto and, you know, things like that, but I'm not an anime person, so it's not popping for me, but I'm sure it's popping for a lot of people I know. They had a Dying Light 2 demo, so that's going to be interesting. They announced Battletoads, which I found hilarious and also pretty cool. Like, it's finally, you have this property sitting there, why not use it? You troll people with the shirt, go ahead. Walmart Canada ended up being right. Just Cause 4 is coming. Then they had a like crazy Gears announcement that kind of trolled people that stood out to me as well. First they showed like a bunch of Funko Pop animated Gears people, and apparently they're coming out with a Funko Pop Gears game for mobile, but they're also going to come out with a Gears Tactics game, which is going to be a PC strategy game, and they showed some of Gears 5, which I'm sure triggered a lot of people because you know how the internet is now. Anytime you show a girl as a main protagonist, people, this like Neanderthal group surfaces to the top of the internet and goes nuts. Oh my God, we're playing as the girl. Why we gotta be a girl? Blah, blah, blah. Like, shut the fuck up. Get over yourself. You're probably never gonna touch a girl in your life. You should be happy that at least you can touch one through a controller. Fucking idiots. I hate people who like react like that to seeing women on the screen as a protagonist. Like, Jesus Christ. We should be past this by now, people. Anyway, that's another argument, social thing. And then, you know, Phil Spencer came out and gave an impassioned speech about how, like, yes, we're working on the next Xbox. No, we're not banning games. Hopefully this showed you how committed we are to being the best platform to play on, and we're just going to be games, reiterating the studio thing and all that. Like, he really was pushing the envelope that, hey, games. We really are about games, people. We're not giving this shit up. Seriously, we're dedicated to this. Now, there was a couple of things, like they talked about Game Pass. People popped over the Forza Horizon on Game Pass thing, and I'm like, don't y'all know they announced this when they announced Game Pass? Why are y'all acting like y'all just realized that if you have Xbox Game Pass, you pay $10 a month and you get the Xbox exclusive games for free on their release dates? It hasn't changed since it came out, so I don't know what's new. It's crazy how people, like, I don't know, have selective memory or something. I know. Anyway, but you had that. There was something about fast start. I didn't really understand what the hell they were talking about, but apparently this helps with picking what games they push to you for Game Pass. I don't know. It was confusing. The woman had a hard time reading the prompter, I think, because she kind of was stuttering through it. So I don't know, but it's a thing. Okay, cool. And then of course they talked about how they're building a cloud-based streaming service so you can play their games on other devices. This leans to what somebody, and shout out to Blackjack for bringing this up, how Microsoft is trying to go more to a games as a service thing, because I remember a couple of days ago I posted an article about how one of the execs talked about how they don't find it easy to make single player campaign orientated games because there's no way to implement them as a service. And more, if you start looking at Microsoft's games, they are implementing a lot of services within the games, or making games that are based around services, you know, be it cosmetics, be it extra content, or what have you. You know, they're definitely looking more to that kind of mobile, I guess, blueprint, maybe you could call it. Although, as Blackjack mentioned to me, Microsoft has been about being a company for service for years. Because if you look at Windows 10, which you generally cannot, which is generally based around different services, and the way you get it and the way it's distributed is more service based. The Microsoft 360 plan with Office being more of a subscription based thing than you go every couple of years and they release a 2-disc version. It's more like you're just buying licenses at this point with Microsoft, and then you re-up when they have something new, or they just upgrade the product that you have to license for, as long as the license is still in existence. Things like that. So, yeah, Blackjack, you're right. Microsoft does lean towards the more service thing, which makes it interesting how they made sure that they reiterated that, hey, we're going to be making another hardware. We're not going to just bail out on hardware right now. We're committed to this. Thing is, with Game Pass, you also get new games from other companies, so it seems like they're purchasing licenses from them, and it makes you definitely see that they're trying to push people more towards the Game Pass thing as much as possible, which makes sense because it's less money out their pocket for producing games. If they can find a way to incentivize people to go to the route that they wanted you to in the beginning of the generation, they're doing what they need to do, which is cool. Cool for them. Not for traditionalists, but cool for them, and cool for people who are on board with the all digital world and who don't mind having subscriptions to all these different things like Origin, EA Pass, Game Pass, and what have you, to play games instead of actually purchasing games. That may be indeed the wave of the future. That being said, here's the big part with the negativity. Microsoft and their hyperbole. a lot of what they said to me, I have to take as hyperbole because we've been down this path several times with them within this generation, where they've talked a lot about their dedication and commitment to making games, to bringing exclusive content, and all of this, and what has happened over this generation. They've disappointed a lot of people, mainly their fan base, but they've disappointed a lot of people in general because there were a lot of people who looked at the beginning of this generation with Microsoft as a new era where it's like, yo, they're finally going to get away from just buying their way to the top by buying all these exclusives from third parties, by buying all this, like, you know, exclusive or dated content and things like that. Now, of course, they don't have the like dated content as much as they used to. Sony's pretty much has locked that up somehow, but they're still buying into the exclusivity market. Although, again, I'm very encouraged by the idea that they have these 5 studios. And I'm glad they're starting low with the 5 studios. That way they don't have to commit themselves as much as they were trying to at first. Maybe that's why this fell apart, because they were trying to overcommit when they never had an infrastructure to begin with that could handle that many studios. It's not like there's Sony or Nintendo who field lots of teams, lots of studios, and things like that, who have generation after generation continually built upon their exclusivity. Microsoft never done that. Microsoft's exclusivity was mainly based off of the Gears, the Fable, and the Halo, and now you could say the Forza franchises. And this is like, in their lifespan, this is the new beginning for them, you know. And maybe the first time they didn't just get it right, and they just disbanded it, and now they're realizing that maybe if they start a little bit slower, it'll work. But at the same time, just how committed are you? You've taught people too much in the past that what you say is not necessarily what you're going to do. So, while I'm very, very encouraged, and I think this was a great conference, again, I have to look at it as hyperbole until it's a reality, because Microsoft has done it too much in the past, in the recent past. You know what I mean? So, that's just me. You know, while I'm big on the things that I saw from there, the majority of stuff I have to say I was big on were things that aren't exclusive, and that's another thing. Their whole exclusivity thing. All their exclusive games are coming on PC, so for me, it's a plus because I have a PC that can run their games. But for the Xbox itself, or the Xbox brand, how good is this? I guess it's great for the brand itself, considering that you have to go to the Windows Store to get these games, and you have to log into an Xbox Live account for the most part, for most of these games, especially in multiplayer. So they have you connected to their ecosystem, just not on their hardware. And that's going to be the biggest selling point, even with the next Xboxes. Why should I get this piece of hardware when now PCs are even more affordable and all your games are coming on PC? And now, knowing that this Game Pass thing will work on PC as well, I would probably be willing to foot the $10 a month for it eventually, once they build a big enough library that draws me in. And just say, fuck it, I'll give Microsoft $10 a month, $120 a year, just to like cherry pick the best of their exclusives whenever I need to. You know, for the cost of 2 games, I get to play their games without having to purchase another piece of hardware as well. And that's one of the big things that's always going to stand out to me with Microsoft this generation, which is why, you know, it's good on you that you're committing to the hardware, but, you know, I've been one to say that they're not going to stay with the hardware, and you know, they're disproving me by saying this, but at the same time, the investment in the hardware still is looking kind of suspect to me, because again, I can just play all your things on something I already own and that I will use regardless of whether or not I buy Xbox games or not. You know what I mean? So, not like I just got a PC just a game. I mean, I do other stuff, including the homework that I was doing before this shit started. So it reminds me, I need to get back to you. So, guess I'm gonna wrap this up by saying, yeah, Microsoft, great conference. A plus conference. But again, it's all gonna seem like hyperbole if they don't show us the goods in the end. And that's probably the biggest takeaway we can get from this generation when we look back at Microsoft and when this generation is all said and done. It's like, how much hyperbole did they put out there to kill themselves this current generation? And hopefully this year will be different for Microsoft. Anyway, as always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll hunt you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.